Hey there, Walt here from WaltInPA, and it has been quite a while since you've seen this bike. Actually, been quite a while since I've seen this bike. So I just picked up my 2022 Yamaha MT-09 SP from Martin Moto, where it has been for nearly 3 months. So if you haven't heard, I got rear-ended at a traffic light on Father's Day. And as far as accidents go, it was the best case scenario. I walked away injury-free, but the MT-09 was kind of banged up. So as I said at the start of the video, it's been almost 3 months since I've ridden this bike. Today is September 19th. So I got rear-ended on Father's Day. A couple days later, the bike was taken over to Martin Moto. I'm gonna say maybe a week, maybe a couple of days is underestimating a little bit, but I got rear-ended on Sunday. It was at Martin Moto by the following Friday, and that's kind of where the waiting game began. It took a little while, took quite a while actually, to get a work order estimate handled. You know, in the automotive industry, you go in to take your car in for work and they tell you it's going to cost X number of dollars because that's what the billing code in the book says. I think motorcycles are very similar in a sense, where Martin Moto was seemed a little confused as to what to charge for some of these repairs. And then to make matters worse, not all of the parts were available. So it's been kind of typical for Yamaha as of late, or ever since COVID, that motorcycles and parts seem to be a serious issue, and my parts were no different. Most of the parts were available, fortunately, but one had to be shipped in from Japan. There were none in the US. I believe it was the whole tail section that needed to be shipped in, and the estimated arrival time on that, I believe, was 3 weeks, and of course it wound up taking a little bit longer than that. And then the bike was finished. It was all ready to be picked up last week, but I didn't do it because I got a letter from Yamaha USA explaining that there was a recall issued on the O2 sensor. And at that point, while I was eager to get the bike back, I had already been without it for 2.5 months. Like, what was another couple of days waiting for Martin Moto to take care of the recall while they still had it. Fortunately, getting the parts to handle the recall service were pretty quick. I mean, I think they had the parts within 2 or 3 days. So I could have had the bike last week, early last week actually, but we wound up holding off so that they could do everything all at once. So the repairs were rather costly, and once I get back home, we'll do a breakdown of what the individual components cost. Total repair cost was $5,544.39. So yeah, a little bit steep, but the bike looks fantastic. They even detailed it for me, and it looks wonderful. I mean, the worst part of the entire bike at this point is my mangled license plate that I have to send in for a replacement of. And they gave me a card that I can do that with, so I can get a duplicate plate to replace my mangled one. But I really miss this bike. I forget how much fun it is. I've been riding the Ninja 400 for quite a bit lately. Or actually, it's been my only bike. And, you know, it's fun. It's a peppy little bike, but it just the MT-09, it's bigger, it's more comfortable, and there's no shortage of power. So it's a very, very different riding experience, and I really missed it. It feels so strange being on a standard after riding a small sport bike for 3 months. Exclusively for 3 months. So there she is, folks. Figured I'd pull over and let you see it all cleaned up before I get it filthy and you see it in a later video. So there were variety of components that needed to be replaced, especially on the right side. So the bar end was all mangled, my frame slider was all mangled, and I wound up having to order a new one. I guess their parts department had an issue finding those RNG racing sliders. There were some scuffs and scrapes on the wheel, on the swing arm, on the foot peg, so all that stuff had to be replaced. The whole tail section was all mangled. My license plate's all crumply. It's kind of sad, you know, like this was the component that took the longest to get. What I really should have done was just thrown a tail tidy on there and not waited 3 weeks for that part, or had them install a tail tidy and then just have the insurance company pay for a new tail section and just kind of stick it in a box, you know, because that was the delay. But man, it looks beautiful. Did a great job cleaning it up. Way better than I do with the garden hose and the muck off. Such a different riding experience. You know, even in pretty subdued riding conditions like this, just kind of putting along down a backcountry road, it's such a different riding experience than the Ninja 400. It really makes you appreciate the nuance of the MT-09.